follow up with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Josh, are you recording the meeting?
It started, Doug.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who are attending the meeting as public guests, please do me a favor and mute your microphone so we don't get any background noise that would disrupt the conversations and other activities of the meeting. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I am going to ask that we amend the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to amend today's meeting agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we will. I know we have a couple of items, so we will indeed amend the agenda. So the first amendment for the agenda is the under new business. I'm going to, as you all know, submit a motion for acceptance of the PPP loan. So that'll be put under new business. All right. Any other changes to the agenda?
Yeah, I have a motion to add to the under new business as I submitted, so everyone saw, to remove one trustee and appoint another trustee for our 401k program.
Got it. I also have another item to change on the agenda, and that is under appointments. There are 4 appointments that we have. One for the Dorris Lloyd for Marine Advisory, one Joe Lynch for Golf, one for Janice Cropper Rines Communications Committee Extension, and Elaine Brady Communications Committee Extension. So I'm going to add those appointments to the agenda. Any other changes to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting agenda as amended.
So
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please say, let's do a roll call vote. Myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Camila?
Yeah.
Frank?
She'll say it too.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That's approved. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the March 7th meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the minutes from the March 7th closed meeting, take a roll call vote. Myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
All right. Please record that the minutes are accepted unanimous. The next item on the agenda is acceptance of the regular meeting minutes from the April 1st meeting. I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the meeting minutes from the April 1st regular meeting? Roll call. Myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
All right, minutes have been accepted unanimously. Next item on the agenda is president remarks. Two quick things. One, obviously, as we added under new business information on the PPP loan, we'll hear the discussion as we address that information under new business. It'll hopefully shed some light on some of the issues that were taken into consideration as we move forward with this particular course of action. The second item is Comcast. We've received several complaints that there's been disruptions in service, both from water mains, Mediacom, and other utilities. With help from John Viola and his team, myself and John addressed the project manager, and they are taking the necessary steps to coordinate changing how they approach things and taking far more care of their construction activities to prevent any, or I want to say prevent, they're going to minimize any future disruptions. They're following a different protocol that they had apparently not communicated properly to the construction crews. So there'll definitely be a change, and I've seen it already. So there'll be a change in their approach, and we're hoping that that continues to go with minimal disruption to the residents of Ocean Pines. That's all I have for my comments. So the next item on the agenda is the GM report. John.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Before I start, I'd like to introduce Kobe. I know Kobe and Josh are working on a webinar for flood readiness. So Kobe.
Good morning.
Who's doing the slides?
There's slide up. I can see if I can add it if there's not slides.
Josh, Michelle, who's got the slides?
More actions. Let's see.
You got to just click on that share box, I hope.
So Colby, right. Do you have the slide deck on your computer?
I do, but
all right. So you see this, if you mouse over the screen, you'll see those three dots. Just to the left of the three dots, you'll see a square with an arrow in it. That's desktop sharing. So you can share your desktop with everybody, and then you'll have to unshare when you're done with your presentation.
Okay. Let me think, is this it? I don't know if this is the right one.
There you go.
Let's see if it's, nope,
Yep.
Not that one.
Yep, that's it.
That's actually not the right one though.
Oh.
How do I get out of that one?
All right, you just unshare.
Okay. Let me go to my desktop. Sorry.
Okay, and then bring that up. Yeah, we can still see your.
There's the shell slides, or the slides just came up, I think. I have it up. I have it up on my computer, but I'm trying to figure out how to edit. Sorry.
Then you have to share your screen again.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay. Is it there?
Yep.
All right. Let me
Good.
pull you guys back up. So you can see the slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're having a flood readiness webinar on May the 12th. Josh Davis and I have been working with FEMA, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, Department of Planning, Emergency Management Agency, along with a bunch of other state and local agencies. We were supposed to be doing it in-house, in person, but because of the current situation, we're going to push back the live event actually in person to the fall and do a live event, which is going to give a lot of information on types of flooding in Ocean Pines, flood maps and how to use them, what your risks are, what you can do to have flood damage to your home, reduce that risk. Do you have flood insurance? Also, standing water issues around your home is a big deal. So that's one of the things that we're going to be discussing as well. And so we're just asking everybody to join us. There's a lot of pieces of information. And if anyone has any questions ahead of time, I did receive a couple emails after the newspaper article came out yesterday. They can certainly email me or Josh, and we can pass those on to the group that's going to be handling that. And then in June, we're going to be doing another live webinar on how to make a rain barrel and a rain garden to help those areas at your home that soak up a lot of that water. So that's it. May 12th, 5 to 6 on our Ocean Pines Association page. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kobe, go ahead and stop
I got him.
sharing.
I got him. Oh, I got him.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so let's So So what I wanted to do right after Kobe's flood readiness is show everybody some pictures. The clubhouse is basically complete. Hoping to get the C of O this coming week. I know the fire inspector's been there. The health department will be there Monday. Looking good. I mean, it's basically complete. So here, Josh took some pictures from the front, so you can see the front view. It's another one. That's basically it. To the left, there will be a sign which is being made, but you can see less is more in front of it as far as landscaping, and it's looking pretty neat. So the side view, the back. So on the right there's a patio that'll come from the clubhouse grill for the golfers. If you go to the left, you can see there's a wraparound deck, but to the left, you can't see yet, but there is another patio that will be used for the banquets and the community center. So the way the building works is it's multi-purpose, but the golfers, as well as the banquets and the food and other type of community services, will be separate, and it's certainly the way it's designed. It certainly can operate that way. Quick picture of the inside, clubhouse grill. You can see it's pretty much complete. You can see it to the left, the accordion doors that go into the community center, and you see the chairs and everything starting to come in. The community center, I know Public Works and I know Kobe and the aquatics team helped. They're helping to start setting everything up. So you can see where we're at. It's basically complete. All right, that's enough for pictures. During this period now with the COVID-19, communications is very important. I believe we have a very good communication team. It's across the board. Everybody's contributing, certainly Josh and Julie. Just want to point out for this type of situation where we are in and everybody else, there's no playbook. There's no playbook for where we are right now. But I think everybody would agree from a communication plan as well as everything else, we're certainly doing the best we can, and I believe we're addressing everything. So as far as communications, Josh and his team, they're monitoring federal government and Governor Hogan updates. There are releases shared on the websites. Ocean Pines continues to share information with Worcester County, Ocean City, Berlin, and others to supply, very important, you've heard me say this from the beginning, benchmarking for closures and everything else. Our construction continues as opened by the governor. And you can see the police, I'll have more pictures and more detail on the police department building next month. Our financial situation, well, let's start off with North Star, our software system. We continue to work on that, continue to basically get it up to speed. It is moving. It is a team effort with the North Star team, and I believe at the end of the day, we will be successful. I just wanted to touch on revenue because it's important on what's going on and everything and other events that are here. But when you look at our total budget, it's not all from assessments. It's basically almost 60-40. 60 come in from the assessments, around 40% comes from our amenities, and a lot of our amenities are closed right now. Did fine. All right, so with that, let's talk about the GM team report. Let's look at our major initiatives. The clubhouse, the status is green. Like I mentioned, next week, we hope to have the C of O. Just a reminder, the budget was $1.6 million. To date, we've paid as of 4/27, almost $1.3 million. We're estimating and forecasting that it will probably come in all in about 1.5 million, 1.5 and change. So certainly under the 1.6. Cart barn, last time you'll see that's completed. Oh, sorry about that. Cart barn's completed, the C of O is received. You can see where we came in versus budget, well under budget by 120,000. The police building is green. I have down here a date of September 2020. I believe by all indications, assuming nothing else happens under the situation with COVID-19, it should be completed earlier. Budget 1.276. As of now, we've paid in about 480,000. We are on track as of now to come in on the budget. North Star, green, yellow status. We have pushed the date to December 2020. The budget, 400,000. We're in about 385,000. As I've mentioned before, and I will continue, I believe we're tracking to around 430,000. Admin renovation, green, September also 2020. The budget's 220,000. We will come in on the budget as of now, and we made a payment this month that I'll report next time. But we're tracking again on the budget. Border Links drainage is completed. That was approximately 100,000. I believe we came in a little bit over, but we did do a lot of extra work there. Okay, you can see about the extended and the certificate of occupancy. Let's go to our financial situation for the month. Just give me a second. So for the month, net operations was unfavorable, 36,000. As I mentioned, obviously the COVID-19, the amenities closed. But let's break it down. The revenues were unfavorable to budget, approximately 60,000. So what happened? Aquatics was down about 13, CPI down about 12. This is in thousands. Golf down around 4,000. Yacht Club down 19,000. Other 5,000. General admin, some miscellaneous was down 6,000. That's about 60,000. So it was across the board. The expenses. So the expenses are coming in favorable. There is a big offset there. We did book in the general admin. We booked our reserve for bad debts, which had a big offset because there was favorability across the board. But that reserve, that accrual offset favorability in public works of about 20,000, general maintenance 24, golf 23,000, beach club, yacht club 34,000. So there were offsets. Favorability, obviously, we're closed. Okay, year to date. So on the year to date, as I call up the slide, we're still favorable over $600,000. Let's look at the net operating number for the 11 months, and I'll take that all in one. So we were favorable for 11 months versus budget. General maintenance 200,000, public works, yacht club, beach park, and marinas. So pretty much across the board favorability. A lot of it was in the maintenance of public works. A lot of their work was capitalized this year based upon the projects, and there were some open positions. Aquatics was down about 37,000. Golf, when you couple with the turn grill, basically came out flat. That was interesting. Police was unfavorable, 32,000. And then general admin, finance, and public relations was basically a wash. So there's your $666,000 favorability. Keep in mind, 250,000 of that was already earmarked for the budget for 2021, and we will be fine with that. Okay. With that, I would like to hand over to our treasurer, Larry Perrone.
Next slide, please.
Can you see it if I do mine, Larry?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do it for you. Go ahead.
Again, our short cash and short-term investments, our laddered investments are still drawing about 2.5%. Next month, that number will be much lower because maturing of our CDARs and CDs that we have. As of March 31st, the association had approximately 9.2 million in cash, 4.8 million in CDARs, and 4.4 million in our money market. Next slide, please. Yeah, our reserve situation, it's still relatively stable. We are at the end of March, we had $4.4 million in the replacement reserve account, 1.9 in bulkheads, 600,000 in roads, for a total of 6.9 million. Next slide, please. Okay, our forecast, you can see that we've got the expenditures plugged in. We're, instead of going through all the numbers, we are projecting at the end of next month to have a total balance of 5.7 million. But I do want to point out that the replacement reserve account is projected to be at 3.695. And that puts us at about 19.4% of our replacement reserve total. And again, as we've talked before, we're trying to get that number to 22 to 25%. So the replacement reserve goal, we're below the replacement reserve goal. Okay, and I don't have a slide for this, but I wanted to update everybody on where we are with the assessments. As you know, I've been updating you every week on where we are on the assessments because we moved the assessment due date back 90 days. As of the 30th, we've received $4,193,000, and that's of our total due of $9.126 million. That's about 46%. And if you remember our discussions, our hope was to have about 25% or to carry us to August. So we're way ahead of that number, which is good. However, compared to last year, we are down $1.55 million in assessments. Now, again, what that says to me is that people are holding on to their money, and hopefully will, the next couple months, people who can afford to send us their assessment dollars will do it. With the influx of the 1.14 million from the PPP loan, I think from a financial standpoint, a cash flow basis right now, we should be okay. But again, I want to make sure everybody understands that, the impact of the coronavirus and the shutdown of our amenities is, it's, even if we get open by June, this may be a long-term effect in a lower amount of revenue coming in. We don't know at this point if people are still going to come to the beach, if they're going to come to Ocean Pines. And so we don't know how long that impact will be or what the amount will be. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. All right, next item on the agenda. John, can you unshare your screen so we can move back to the standard operating environment? The next item on the agenda is public comments. As we had asked for those who were going to participate, if you could email any public comments, we would read them. As of this morning, we had received none. So I will open the floor for any of the folks who are attending the meeting virtually, if they would speak out and decide that they want to make a public comment. Again, same thing as normal. Please, your name and your address, and the floor is now open for public comments. Also, as a reminder, those of you who are attending the meeting virtually and are not talking, please mute your microphone so that we can make sure that we don't have a lot of overtalk to anybody. So again, floor is open for public comments. And for those of you who wanted to make a public comment, just please make sure your mic is unmuted so we can hear you. Okay, seeing none, then I'll close the floor for public comments. And again, encourage people that if you've got any questions, certainly email the board, and we'll make sure that we follow up accordingly on all inquiries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is capital purchase requests. As of this meeting, we have no capital purchase requests. The next item on the agenda is CPI violations. There are no CPI violations to be reported in this particular meeting, so we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is unfinished business. The first item under unfinished business is a second reading of Resolution M01. Frank. Frank Daly. Oh, I just saw Frank drop off for some for some reason.
Frank's on.
Give him a second, because he's actually got all 4 of these second readings. And folks who are watching, apologize for any technical difficulties. Frank dropped off out of the meeting for a second. Hopefully he'll be back soon and we can continue.
Here we go.
There we go, Frank.
Here we
Thank you.
go.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem was. Apparently the internet decided to do something screwball. Anyway, in this package, first you have the background from the Bylaws and Resolutions Committee as to why each one of these requires the change that it does. So the second reading for M01 is the first on my list here. And the following changes are recommended per the attached. It's under General Procedures, Step 4B. And you can see in red that we're adding Addendum A, Sample Board Meeting Requirements to Resolution M01. You have in that package also the entire rewrite of the new resolution with that added to it. And if your package came exactly like mine, at the very end of your package, you will see the addendum, Addendum A, which is without any changes. However, I did increase the spaces. Just an interesting side note, the note from the Bylaws and Resolutions Committee said the spaces were kind of jammed up on the original. I would think that if that happens, that we have the authority to increase the spacing, but just to be sure, I increased the spacing on Addendum A so that that would all be available.
All right. Any questions for Frank regarding M01? Then, as this is his second reading, I'll entertain a motion to accept this submission of changes to M01.
So moved.
So
All right,
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on M01 regarding the information that Frank has provided? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the second reading of M01, please say aye. By roll call, myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And Frank?
Yes.
All right. It's please note that the acceptance of that motion was unanimous. So the next item under unfinished business is a second reading of Resolution C02. Frank?
Okay. The following changes are recommended per the attached. You can see on your document the redlined items that are taken out, and the word general manager is included. So the new reading would say, review possible violations of the declarations of restrictions identified by the Department of Compliance, Permitting, and Inspection, and referring the violation to the general manager for action in accordance with board policy.
So nothing materially has changed since the first reading.
That is correct.
Any other questions for Frank regarding C02? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the second reading of C02.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the second reading of C02, please signify by roll call. Myself, aye. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie? Cammie?
She's got her mic muted.
Cammie, you're muted. Would you please unmute your mic?
There you go.
Can you hear me now? Yes?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. You vote yes on the motion?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Larry
Yes.
and Frank?
Yes.
All right. Please record that the motion was passed unanimously. The next item on agenda is a second reading of M04. Frank?
Okay. Revise M04 as follows via the noted deletions. Basically, under section 4, that entire section is being deleted from the resolution, and there's other changes just showing the date and the officers involved.
Any questions for Frank regarding M04? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the second reading of M04.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, any further discussion?
One thing, Doug.
Sure.
I just want to point out that with the acceptance of this second reading, we have now changed the enforcement policy so that when there is a violation of a declaration of restrictions, it's basically the homeowner's responsibility to correct it within 30 days. And if not, John is empowered as the general manager to get a court order to force compliance at the end of that 30-day window.
Yeah, I think it's important that you mention that, Frank, and thank you. It's the idea that it sort of ties into the changes that were done with M01 as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the I's are dotted and T's are now crossed for us to legally proceed.
Other questions or discussion? Thank you, Frank. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the second reading of Resolution M04 by roll call? Myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Please note that the resolution acceptance was unanimous. Next item under unfinished business is second reading of Resolution C11. Frank?
Okay, the following changes are recommended per the attached. It's under section 1, membership. The committee should have at least 7, but not more than 9 members. 1 committee position for the Ocean Pines Ladies Golf Association, the Ocean Pines Men Golf Association, and the Ocean Pines Golf Course Members Council shall be reserved, providing members from these groups are willing to serve on the committee and meet all applicable association requirements for committee membership. This particular reading was recommended by the Golf Advisory Committee to include all stakeholders involved with the golf course and to provide a consistency of message to golf management.
Any questions for Frank regarding C11?
Hey, Frank, there's one correction you need to make. It's Ocean Pines Golf Members Council, that you need to remove course from there. That's not part of the title.
Okay, let me do that. So noted. I guess this question comes to John and Michelle. If to remove course, we can do so. How do we make sure that that's documented?
Frank, we can actually, when it comes up for a motion, we'll strike that. That'll become part of the record, and that'll get changed into C11.
Okay.
All right. So rather than discussing it further, I'll entertain a motion to accept the second reading of C11.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, further discussion. So from my perspective, number one, Larry, good catch. Let's strike the word course in front of members council. And that would be the only change that I see so far. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the second reading of C11 with the noted change, please say aye. Myself, aye. Steve?
Yes.
Tom? Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Right. All right. Please note that that accepted with the change was unanimous. That's it for unfinished business. So moving to the next section of the agenda, and that's new business. The first thing was an item that was added as part of the amended agenda. And it's a motion to accept the PPP program. So the motion is read and move to accept the approved loan in conjunction with the PPP program. Purpose and effect, the action will confirm the acceptance of the approved loan by the SBA to fund operations in accordance with the program requirements. The background, OPA had submitted an application in anticipation of needing funds to run operations and maintain required staffing levels. The SBA reviewed the application and approved the loan. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Okay.
Yeah, Doug, I'll
Colette.
just say that I want to applaud our committee who worked on this for their diligence in getting this started and getting it completed within the time window. And, hopefully we won't need these funds, but if we do, they'll be there.
Other discussion? All right. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the authorized PPP loan for the purposes intended, please signify by saying aye. Roll call. Doug, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
All right, please record that the motion was passed unanimously. The next item under new business is the appointment of a new trustee. Larry?
The motion is to remove a census trust company as trustee of the Ocean Pines Association, Inc. 401k plan and appoint Reliance Trust Company as a successor trustee effective as of July 1st, 2020. Purpose and effect. The purpose is to permit a census trust company to the authority to transfer assets to Reliance Trust Company, granting this new successor trustee the authority to direct all action necessary to or appropriate to maintain the proper administration and qualified status of the Ocean Pines Association, Inc. 401k plan. Background, Ocean Pines Association plans to transfer assets over to Reliance Trust Company in order to allow for comprehensive plan integration with current ADP Inc. payroll. The change in service will be internally cost effective and will keep the 401k participant fees neutral. Employees will also benefit by gaining access to helpful investment programs, information, and technology tools.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
This is really a mechanical change, Doug, and we needed to have a formal motion done that'll have to be notarized for these funds to be transferred.
I have a question, Larry. So this really has no effect on the budget. It's more or less housekeeping with the idea of changing the trustee. I think I heard you say it's a neutral with regard to funding sizes or funding aspects. Is that correct?
That's correct. And really all this is the trustees responsible not for doing the investments or pulling the money from our payroll accounts. Their job is to monitor our compliance with the rules and regulations and make sure that the paperwork is appropriate. So this is a trustee, not the investment operation.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the trustee change, please signify accordingly. Myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
All right, please note the motion was accepted unanimously. That's all we have for new business. The next item on the agenda is appointments. These were added as part of the amended agenda. I have 4 appointments for consideration. One, Dorris Lloyd, 2nd term Marine Advisory Committee. Joe Lynch, 2nd term Golf Advisory Committee. Jenny Cropper Rines, a 1-year extension on the Communications Committee. And Elaine Brady, a 1-year extension on the Communications Committee. I'll ask that they all be considered under one vote. Any questions or concerns with that? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept all 4 of the appointees that I just mentioned.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the appointments as noted, please say aye. Myself, yes. Steve?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Colette?
Yes.
Cammie? Cammie? Cammie, can you check your mic, please? All right, Larry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Cammie? All right. Well, in the interest of time, we have a majority. I'm sure Cammie would vote yes as well. Seeing no other items on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate all the time. Those of you who participated virtually. If you've got any suggestions or just any feedback, we're certainly welcome to that. Thank you very much for attending and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Do we
Bye.
know how many people attended virtually?
15.
Yeah, about 15 or